Flirting, as we know it, has been around for over 300 years. And after all this time, is it over? Are we still allowed to do it? Or did we cancel it? I'm Larry Fedoruk, and this is Later That Same Life. On each episode of my weekly podcast, a different topic, discussion, or story from our lives.
Season 18, Chapter 3.
Flirting.
Flirting. It does sound a bit outdated, doesn't it? Like maybe that's how your parents got together. But no one flirts anymore, do they? It also has this connotation of unwanted advances, but it's not that. That's not really what flirting is. I know these are sensitive times, but yes, words do matter. So this is what flirting is, or supposed to be. Flirting is behaving as though attracted to or trying to attract someone. True flirting does not represent a courtship or any kind of sexual advance. If you've reached that point, the flirting part is over, and you're into a stage beyond flirting. So, say I'm flirting with you and you flirt back. We discover we are attracted to each other. Then maybe we move on from there. If we don't, we still flirted, and that was fun.
Well, not everything's a competition.
Well, if it were, I'd win.
Ah, are you flirting with me?
Not at all. Are you flirting with me?
It depends. Is it working?
Not at all.
Well, nice meeting you.
But flirting itself is behaving as if attracted or trying to attract. Flirting wasn't always flirting as we know it. I'm always interested in the etymology. Flirting, with its romantic undertones, has been around since the early 18th century. Interesting to note that in the year 1700, the population of the Earth was around 600 million people. 100 years later, as flirting came into its own, we hit 1 billion people. I don't know, maybe there's a correlation between flirting and an increase in population. Well, correlation doesn't imply causation. That's what they say. So, flirting, a behavior to attract, since around 1700. Sociologists believe this kind of behavior existed well before we actually called it flirting. But it's difficult to determine with any degree of accuracy what form of behavior that may have taken. Yeah, I know we have the classic cartoon caveman images, the club on the head, the dragging by the hair. First of all, I don't think that's historically accurate. Second of all, that's not flirting. I think that's called domestic abuse. I'm sure as human societies developed, the behavior to attract became more nuanced. After a time, humans developed dancing, for example. Dancing. Let's face it, that is an excellent form of flirtation. We first start to see the word flirt used as a verb in the early 16th century. Then it meant to be turned or curved up, largely referring to the way women of the day wore their hair or their headdresses. Lovely flirt there, Agnes. Ah, yes, it is the latest thing. By the latter half of that century, the word flirt also referred to a sudden, quick movement or a sharp blow. Oh, what happened to you? Oh, he flirted me when I wasn't looking. That's the verb. The noun flirt began to denote a jest or an expression of wit. Heard any good flirts lately? Well, yes, but none that I can repeat in mixed company. This morphed into the use of the word to mean a giddy, flighty type of person. Years later, the famous poet, essayist, and lexicographer Samuel Johnson put flirt in his dictionary. Flirt, noun, a pert young hussy. Hussy, yeah, love that. And I reluctantly admit that I spent most of my teens and early 20s looking for those pert young hussies. Where are the pert young hussies? Where do they hang out? Let's go there. This combination of giddy character and, the pert young hussy likely led to the current meaning of flirt, playful behavior to attract. So now we're up to the beginning of the 18th century. Flirting, playful courtship, the cooing, the wooing, and it began to be applied to both men and women. This is not to imply that same-sex relationships didn't exist then, but as we know, heterosexuality was the accepted norm. It should be noted, too, that over the years, a flirtatious man was thought to be charming, a bon vivant. What a caution! Oh, you! While a flirtatious woman, well, she was a pert young hussy. Because if there's anything that the humans are really good at, it's the double standard. When you start looking around, you'll find that a lot of people have written books and made videos about flirting. Many of them use the expression, the art of flirting. I guess that's the way I've always looked at it, as the art of flirting. I guess it's an art. An art is a creative expression meant to convey a feeling or a message, where a craft is a set of skills, where when expertly executed, create a specific result. So maybe flirting is both art and craft. Either way, we've seemed to have lost this ability to properly flirt, and certainly the ability to flirt in person. Again, no shortage of self-proclaimed experts in flirting. The mistake I think most of them make is that they look at flirting as a means to an end. I don't think it always has to be, or should be. Flirting should be for flirting's sake. Flirting is playful. And when kids play, they play just to play, because it's fun. And if it goes past that, then it is something else. Dating, courtship, whatever. But flirting itself, well, should be just play. So what else are the so-called experts saying? Well, most will say that flirting has certain distinct characteristics. Firstly, flirting often starts out as nonverbal. Sometimes it can be all just nonverbal. Just a look, a smile, a wink, perhaps even a soft touch. Also, true flirting involves a very gentle, non-threatening approach and should usually exhibit a cheerfulness. Then there's this idea of romance. Again, I do not believe that romantic intent should always be a part of flirting. But a romantic nature adds to the appeal. Who doesn't appreciate a hint of romance? Who doesn't enjoy the idea of a romantic exchange, however subtle? Part of that is the mysterious allure often found in examples of flirting. Don't quite know why I'm flirting with this person, why I'm attracted. I just am. Flirting is all the mystery surrounding the person you're having the exchange with. Before you find out all the things about them, like how they take their coffee and that they keep a messy closet and, those things. There is usually a physical attraction, and this doesn't have to mean, good looks. Just a certain physical appeal. The person is put together nicely. They apparently have good hygiene. Those types of things. The physical. I also feel that flirting is not always intentional. For some unknown reason, sometimes we're just attracted to someone and we begin flirting without even really knowing it. The body language, the actual language, our whole demeanor changes suddenly. We don't even know we were flirting. Sometimes somebody has to tell us, hey, you were flirting with her, huh? I was? And if somebody's flirting right back at you, we always don't immediately recognize it either. Sometimes we just think, wow, I just had a nice chat with someone, really getting along. Flirting often involves a compliment, should be tasteful, of course. Sometimes even a tease can work. The experts who claim that they can actually teach the art of flirting indeed recommend or at least point out many of these characteristics. Keep it light, keep it playful, don't necessarily have an end goal, and keep a positive attitude. Many have also said there is a real psychological benefit to being the flirtee. It's a great compliment to be flirted with, isn't it? And that's why others will recommend that you occasionally flirt with your, longtime partner. Helps keep a spark in the relationship. I guess that should work for some, but there is an addendum, another rule that goes along with that. Let's say someone else is flirting with your longtime partner. You should let that go. They're just flirting. but they actually love you. And that can be a tough one to get over, I know, because, we've been raised to believe that flirting usually leads to something else. The other day I was at the dentist. Ooh, a dentist story, Larry, wow. No, seriously, I was switching dentists, so I was signing on as a new patient and meeting everybody for the first time. There was these two people at reception. One says to me, hey, I saw your name there. Are you Polish? I said, no, I'm Ukrainian. Why do you ask? And she told me why. And I mentioned that my grandfather spoke fluent Polish, and we had a nice conversation. And I'm at home later thinking, boy, what pleasant people over there at my new dentist. How great was it to have a nice adult conversation? Then later I'm writing about flirting, and I'm thinking, was that flirting? Well, yes and no. No, because it didn't seem like flirting in the classic sense. Nobody said, hey, do you want to have coffee sometime? But yes, because it was a chat beyond the how are you, fine, you, looks like rain. That, to me, is part of flirting, an exchange that is beyond the mundane. She lobbed one over the net, I lobbed it back. She started a conversation, and I responded with more than a grunt or a one-word answer. She was throwing the pass. The least I could do was run and try and catch it. Maybe because of social media and increasing isolation, that's what we've lost. The ability of some person-to-person conversation. Call it flirting, call it whatever. I try and make the extra effort now to engage. Maybe I'm flirting, and if I give and the person doesn't give back, that's fine, done. I'm not insulted. Hey, there's some days when I don't feel like being social either, so I just move on. And let's face it, everybody's not going to be talking to everyone else all the time. Imagine a world out there where all the people are constantly engaged in lively, pleasant conversation with each other. Hell, we don't want that. Again, people flirt for a number of reasons. For sport, for fun, because they like someone. Or maybe because they have a romantic intention. Or they want to keep the spark alive. Or it's just good for the ego. I guess a lot of this still happens online, but, he said, stating the obvious, it is just not the same, is it? A couple of weeks ago in this podcast, I mentioned Capgras syndrome. It's a real thing, a real brain disease. Let me sum up. Using the example of a long-time spouse of, 30 years, imagine waking up one day and the part of your brain that recognizes this person as your spouse cannot seem to tell the other part of the brain that you are in a relationship and you love this person. Sadly, this actually happens to people. You're thinking, you look just like the person that I know to be my spouse, but I have no feelings, so I think that you're not my spouse. Which then begs the question, what did you do with my real spouse? This happens to people through brain disease or trauma. Beyond that, they're not sure why it happens or how to fix it. Just sometimes important parts of the brain can't seem to communicate with each other. Why do I bring this up? Well, because social media relationships are kind of the opposite of that. We make emotional connections on social, but other than that, maybe a thumbnail picture, our brains have no real physical reference for this person. A person we think we like, maybe even love. So emotionally, I think I recognize you, but physically I do not. That's your opposite of Capgras syndrome. My point again is that flirting on social, not really flirting. Just like anything on social is not really what it is. It's once removed, at least once. Think of watching the Super Bowl on TV. Pretty good coverage, live action as it happens, but you're not really at the game. Speaking of social, one might think that in this age of short attention spans, real flirting would be more popular than ever, right? Flirting is like this short relationship. Quick, it's passing, it's non-committal. 2-3 minutes back and forth, on to the next. Seems perfect for today's instant society, yet it's not. Flirting, the art or the craft, seems to have gone away. I think we should resurrect it. Maybe I could get some sponsors. Organize a weekly flirtation night. Join me every Wednesday night at 8 o'clock at the Flirtation Center in downtown Mapleville for Flirtation Night. Admission is free, must be at least 18 years of age. You could start with some live demonstrations or, a pre-recorded video presentation. This is actual flirting. Then you just open it up to the people and let it happen. And I don't think you'd even need to split it into gay and straight, because again, in the true spirit of flirting night, there would be no romantic intentions. Certainly, if you find out that that's what you want to pursue after the flirting, you should exchange numbers and continue at another place and another time and date. And hey, if the Flirtation Center is not available, we can always rent a room at the library or City Hall. I know what you're saying. Don't we already have these flirtation nights? Don't we have bars and nightclubs and pubs and socials, meet and greets, networking sessions, live speed dating, etc., etc.? True, but these aren't specifically for flirtation. Flirtation may happen there, but I'm talking about a time and a place dedicated solely to flirting. Beyond this point, flirtation only. Anyone suspected of trying to forge a relationship will be asked to leave. Note also that no pool noodles are allowed in the main arena. Pool noodles are for amusement purposes only and not to be used as a flirtation device. Sorry. By the way, according to the website explore.org, the 7 biggest flirts in all of history are King David, Queen Cleopatra, Henry VIII, Casanova, Catherine the Great, Lord Byron, and Maharani Jinkar, a.k.a. Jinkar. She was the last queen of the 19th century Sikh Empire. Not so sure. Many of those are just serial philanderers, more than flirts. But I guess they had to start somewhere. Lord Byron wrote romantic poetry, so maybe his flirtation was research for work purposes. He also died at age 36, so I guess kudos for getting a lot done in a short amount of time. From what I've read, I guess these could be the 7 biggest flirts in history. But I'd have to give honorable mention to Maestro Tribbiani.
Hey, how you doing?
I think he would rank right up there as far as flirts go. TV, movies, music, it's largely where we see flirting today. It's used, of course, as a story device. Some of the top flirting movies, according to IMDb, include Unfaithful, The Other Boleyn Girl, Dirty Dancing, oh yeah, that's a good one, Dangerous Liaisons, Pretty Woman, The Princess Bride, When Harry Met Sally, and The Little Mermaid, if you can believe it. Maybe so. Sometimes she can be a pert young hussy, no question. There's probably a lot more, because as I said, flirting is often used as a method to advance a romantic story. So, to recap, let's bring back flirting, and just for flirting's sake. No personal end goal. Keep it light, keep it playful. Remember that it used to mean a giddy person. Maybe flirting is our road to peace and happiness. Or maybe that's putting a little too much pressure on it. Hey, even if you don't know where to begin, what to say, a wink, a nod, a smile can go a long way.
Later That Same Life is written, voiced, and produced by Larry Fedoruk. LarryFedoruk37@gmail.com. Subscribe to Larry's podcast YouTube channel. Get automatic notifications with each new episode.
Hey, how you doing?